Hey guys, I'm Brady Cannon. I have been filming weddings for 10 years now, since 2009. That is absolutely crazy. I never wanted to film weddings. When people ask me if that's what I wanted to do, I would never forget the first time someone asked me to film their wedding. The first one ever in 2009, they were a member of our church. They said, hey, can you film a wedding? And I said, absolutely not, because I thought about grandpas with old VHS camcorders, you know, cassette tapes and filming, and I didn't want to be that guy. And I told him, I said, I will do it as long as I can do whatever I want with your film. And I did it, and I created, I call it a highlight video, but actually it was like more like a music video because it had no natural audio whatsoever. It just had music to it, which was illegally downloaded, and I put that out there, and that's how I got started filming weddings. And since then, I've filmed a ton of weddings. And I've been wanting to do a YouTube series on wedding cinematography and video and all things about this type of stuff, but I don't like to copy other people. And so I was going to start it a couple of years ago, and then I YouTubed and found somebody who actually is bald like me, who lives up north, who worked at a church, like I work at a church, and actually films videos too. And he's still creating great content, so I didn't want to copy that. But lately I've been talking to wedding photographers and vendors and planners who are telling me about some stuff that's going on in the wedding videography business. In fact, I hate the word videography. I prefer cinematographer. Maybe that's just me, but that's what I prefer. And so because I've been talking to these people, I wanted to do a couple of different tips and tricks on filming weddings and what it's about, and not just on gear. I could talk about gear all day, but that's not what this is. This is not what the first video is going to be on. This is going to be tips for wedding cinematographers on like how to actually work with people and stuff like that. And so here we go. And before I get started, I am not an expert. I love learning, and like I said, I've been doing this for a long time and doing commercials also. I don't know it all. I have gone to workshops and I've learned, and I've YouTube just like most of you have. And so these are just my personal tips and tricks. So here we go. Number one, Proverbs 22:1. It says this: a good name is more desirable than great riches. I believe your name is everything. You are the brand. This past weekend, the photographers I was working with were actually joking with me because there was a bridesmaid in this wedding who has been trying to book me to film their wedding coming up in the fall. And I just haven't got back to them. And the photographers were joking around how they have to chase clients down to book them. And I'm the opposite, to where I actually have brides chasing me down to film their wedding. And I'm not saying that to brag, but I get 5 to 10 emails a week asking me to film people's weddings. And I'm able to look through to see if we're a perfect fit, to see if what I do is exactly what they want. And I book some really great clients, but I have never really advertised. I don't advertise. But what happens is people hear about my name. I have brides who actually book me who have never seen one of my films before. And it always shocks me when I do the pre-meet with them and I'm like, hey, so what film did you see that really interests you in what I do? And a lot of times they say, we've never seen one of your films. But one thing I noticed about this is your films can suck. They don't have to be masterpieces to book great weddings, but your name is everything in your personality. And if you're a joy to be around, people will book you. High-end weddings will book you if you're just a joy to be around. And so that's how we go about it in my business, and what we do with Brady Cannon Films is we're a joy to be around. Like I said, I don't advertise. I don't have a huge following on Facebook. I don't have a huge following on Instagram. In fact, my Instagram posts are normally about LSU football or about my kids or my wife or something like that. I don't make YouTube videos. This is actually my first YouTube video to ever make. And so it's word of mouth. That's how I book clients, is word of mouth. So your name is everything. Number two, treat your clients as friends, not as a business transaction. This is something that I wanted to do in my business, is I treat every bride, every groom, every couple as friends. I get to know them, what are their likes, what are their dislikes. That's what helps me also select the music, which we can do a video about that one day. But I get to know them as people, and so that way when I show up, it's like a friend filming a friend's wedding. That's That's how we even dress. We don't dress like we're hired, like vendors. We actually wear what we wear like a guest. So I always ask, all right, what's the dress code? What are guests gonna be wearing? Are they wearing tuxes? Are they wearing suits and ties? Are they wearing boots and jeans? What are they wearing? And that's how we show up to the wedding, is by doing that. Number 3, the wedding day is not about you, it's about the couple. This is something to remember. It seems like common sense, but the wedding is not about you and your gear and the best shots possible. It's about them. I'm not saying be a tripod and never move. As a wedding cinematographer, your job is to create a story. Your job is to create a story about this couple, about a wedding day. If you film a lot of weddings, I film a lot of weddings. I used to film a lot, like 38 to 40 a year, and have a full-time job working in a church. I cut down to about 20 to 24. I actually want to get down to 12. But filming a lot of weddings, it's hard to make every wedding be different because you do the same thing every wedding. So what changes between wedding to wedding? It's actually the people. The people change. It's different stories. It's different couples. And so to make wedding films fit, you can't just be a tripod and never move. You can't just document the day. You're making a story about the couple, so you have to move. But there's a way to move that does not distract from the day, but actually adds to the story. Which brings me to number 4. Buy the right equipment, not just the best equipment. See, when the Movi M10 came out, I'll never forget that Vincent Lafayette commercial that he shot with the rollerblade, and it came out and moving. And I remember telling my wife, I got to have this piece of equipment. And I think back then it was like $6,000. And I was like, I gotta have that. Well, then the Movi M5 came out. I actually got to pick up the Movi M5. It went right with my 5D Mark III that I was filming with at the time. And then when I moved to the Canon C100 Cinema Series, and it fit in there. So I used to show up to the weddings with this big gimbal, and it was, I mean, it's amazing. I still have it, it's hanging back there. I love my Movi M5. But what I found was I became more of a story with my big gimbal than the actual couple. I remember walking down the aisle and people would actually take their eyes off of the bride and would look at me and my big equipment, and they would ask me questions. Oh my God, what is that? Is that a gyroscope? Is that a 3-axis gimbal? They would ask me this type of stuff. And so whenever handheld gimbals came out, they had the, the Pilot Fly, the Zune crane. Now they have the Ronin S. When those came out, I found out that I could be less of a distraction with the right equipment. Same thing when it comes to lenses. I love prime lenses. I love shooting. This is a prime lens. I love the bokeh, the low aperture. I love 1.2s and 1.4 lenses. But sometimes for a wedding ceremony, I can't use those because I will become a distraction. If all I have on my camera is a 50 mil, I have to get really close to get a close-up of them kissing or a ring exchange. So for the ceremonies, we buy long lenses. So we pop primes on there for the prep and for the reception, but for the ceremony, we're using long lenses. If we're using the Canon, we use the 7200. If we're using the Sonys, we pop like a 24 to 105 f4, but with the speed booster adapter. I said I wasn't going to talk about gear, but here's gear that goes down to 2.8, and then with the clear image zoom, we can like really get close with the crop sensor also. And so we buy long lenses for the ceremony so we're not a distraction. The other thing is this, is please don't use boom mics. I just heard from a wedding photographer, and just last week I was filming a wedding, and they talked about they were photographing a wedding, and the wedding videographer actually used big C stands with boom poles with boom mics for the vows. Which I understand. I love boom mics. Boom mics are fantastic, but what boom mics are for, I use boom mics for like commercial interviews or testimonies at the church or car dealership testimonies. I love the sound of boom mics. But the problem with boom mics is they can be very distracting. And so buy the right microphones for the job. The job is this, discreet. I actually put a mic on the bride. No one ever knows that there's a mic on the bride because you don't see it, but it's hidden inside the dress, and we use these little Tascam DR10 recorders. These are amazing. I have one on right now. It's hidden. You can't see it. I don't like mic clips. And again, if you use boom mics, I understand why you use them, but think about the look as the guest. What does the guest see? And I know it's so easy for us as wedding filmmakers to be selfish and only think about our product, but think about the day. Also, when it comes to lighting, lighting's the same way. If I use the light that I'm using right now, let me turn on this camera. And so here's the light that I'm using right now. This is a big LED light and it looks awesome. I love this light. But if I use this light at a wedding, how distracting would that be? And when you film high-end weddings, they have lighting designers there, and they create an ambiance, or whatever you want to call it, that the groom and the bride wanted, or the mom wanted, or whoever wanted. And so when you pop these big lights, I was at a venue the other day where it was really dark, and I said, well, I have some lights just for the dance floor. The comment that the wedding planner told me was, oh, I know your kind, I know what kind of lights you're bringing. And I was like offended by it, but I understand what they were saying is most video people show with whatever floodlights they have from Lowe's or Home Depot. And this is a pretty expensive LED. It's color changing, it's great. And this light was pretty expensive, but it's not for a wedding. What I'm filming backlight right now, like this right here is a torch LED. That is a torch LED light right there. I love that light. I bring that to receptions and I light the dance floor. The thing with that light is sometimes it puts off too much light. So I have a Dito light. A Dito light I can send like 300 feet in the dime size, so I can light just the dance floor of what I want. And it's not gonna mess up the room light. So you're not the only one there. Think about what everybody wants, what the couple wants, and have the equipment to make the film the best you can without being a distraction. Whoa, that guy can talk. I did not want the video to be that long, but it's funny how when you're passionate about something, how you just keep talking and talking about it. And so that's gonna be tips 1 through 4. Tune in tomorrow for tips 5 through 8. Catch you guys later.